All right, back to the Metu Neter. We are on video 6. And we're going to go back to left, right side of the brain. If you need to catch up, go back to the other videos. The important part of getting to the right side of the brain is that the right side of the brain processes things in a much more perfect order. You have to understand that the left side of the brain takes things that are external, which is generally things that someone else has rendered or something that we have seen in the objective realm, something that is tangible that something else has affected before we saw it. So we have their interpretation of what it is and then our interpretation of that interpretation. That's the left side. Now the right side functions perfectly. You don't think about breathing. You don't think about digesting foods. You don't think about pumping blood through your body. You don't think about dividing your cells. You don't think about all of the things you need for you to exist. But it happens, and it happens in perfect order. In fact, when something goes out of order, your body heals itself without you thinking about it. So not only is the right side of your brain more efficient, it actually functions 500 times faster than the left, per the Metu Neter. Now, why is that important? Egotism is one of the things, in fact, the definition given in here is a failure to experience the interdependence between humans. It's too much me, it's not enough us. It's that lack of connectivity, the left brain. Remember, that's more male side, that's more European side. The me as opposed to the connected. The cure for egotism is activation of the right side of the brain, per the Metu Neter. The dualization of knowledge and good and evil of the spirit. It's that balance. And that seems to be the common thread that's picking up throughout the Metu Neter. It is the balance of the left and right. It's the balance of the objective and subjective. It's the balance of the tangible and intangible. The balance of the finite and the infinite. The balance of the yin, the yang. The positive, the negative. Did I say infinite and finite? If I didn't, there you go. Okay, the hemisphere of the brain, the Cometians refer to as the two truths of Mayati. Now, Mayat, look it up. M-A-apostrophe-A-T. Now, M-A-A-T-I, I have to look up further. If you can find it, please find it. Put it on the comments. Remember, this is something we're doing together. This is not me teaching. This is a lesson for us all to go on together. All right? That it now gives us a precursor to the next chapter where racial differences go beyond skin type, hair type, skeletal structure, and other physiogenomic items. And really differentiating why these two why races are important. Chapter 2 is the black founders of civilization. And I have a lot of things highlighted and notated in here. The main factors that is responsible for the differences in cultural expressions is the division of the brain into two hemispheres, where we already understand that these original black cultures had a degree of mastery that is unparalleled today of the right side of the brain, at least that we know of, because I would imagine those who have that type of mastery probably are not functioning in mainstream society because they don't have a need to. It goes back to talking about the burial of the dead of the ancestors and the communication, which is why these things were possible. White cultures, which is extroverted, left hemispheric, produce and sustains a culture that before the contact with blacks cremated as dead or expose them to be eaten by animals, and has a negative attitude toward quote unquote spirits. Whereas there's a complete opposite when you deal with and also the white culture holds women and the female divine powers in low esteem, where we've already kind of gone through the black cultures. Now, we're not talking about American blacks. We got to make sure that we stay on that. We're talking about the original civilizations, all right, before the westernization of the Asiatic man, of the African man, after the diaspora, not necessarily the forced diaspora, which was slavery, but the movement of the African all around the earth. This group had goddesses for a reason, because they recognized the woman's ability to go into trance or into the subjective realm easier and with more power than men, which I would imagine aligns itself with women being the life force through which life is reproduced. Men have to help, but there's a reason that the female produces. At some point, both spirits in the objective realm are in a woman. We're probably going to learn more about that as we're going. Another just piece of advice. When you're reading and you see words you don't understand, write down in the margin what the word means every time you see it. Once you know what the word means, you don't have to look it up. Don't flip back to see if you can find the word where you wrote the definition down. Keep writing that definition every time you see it. All right, now they're going into Asar and Asad, which is Osiris and Isis. Heru, or Horus, is their son. Osiris invented the written word called the Metu Neter, meaning the language of the gods. Seti was Seti, it's spelled S-E-T or S-E-T-I, killed Asar, Cain and Abel. You'll also see, if you go through history, you'll see the boat of Asar, Noah's Ark, Asar and Asad, obviously Adam and Eve, Osiris, or Horus, Jesus, resurrection. The white nations who became heirs of these civilizations understood only the internal aspects. And this is where it really gets important. Europeans took control and learned how to translate words of Egyptians and of these settlements. The problem is they don't have the same value system. If they don't have the same value system, they don't know what the words mean. Give you a perfect example, and I know this is barely getting us into chapter 2, but this is very important. What freedom means to American white people means the freedom they experience, not freedom for everybody. In black cultures and melanated cultures, freedom means just that, freedom. Today, Europeans, Westerners, white people have their reality first, and anything else is secondary. They translate information according to their value system and feel that they have a grasp of its meaning. They can translate Egyptian language, but still not be able to unravel the mysteries of all religion because their value system is not aligned, so they don't give the same meaning to words as the Egyptian religion. So when you have the 42 words of Ma'at, it doesn't mean the same thing as the 10 Commandments. The 42 laws of Ma'at, I may have said words. 42 laws, I mean, principles, laws of Ma'at, you'll hear it different ways. But those affirmations meant something universally. I respect animals, all animals. I deal fairly with others. That means everybody. Not I deal fairly with white people, so I deal fairly with others. So that is how, if this group came into power and took this information, they would not have the result or accurate outcome in dissemination of this information, because they don't understand it. They are genetically different. They're anatomically made to function differently mentally, going back to the left and right brain. Hence, religion has deteriorated under the control of these groups. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and all of the monotheistic religions. That 10 minutes went fast.